For 2 years now, I've manually been tracking my expenses on a spreadsheet so I can make myself aware, accountable,
and guilty
of my spending on a week-by-week basis. I hate any of the apps that are out there in the market for budgeting or saving, so I kind of made my own. We'll go from logging the expense and showing it in raw form like this, to simple breakdowns like this, and simple analytics like this. I also have a template of my spreadsheet linked down below, and we'll show you a little tutorial of how to use it. We'll talk about the benefits of tracking your expenses manually, how to keep to your budget, how I log my expenses every time I spend them when I'm going out or going for a meal, how the spreadsheet works, how to analyze your expenses and take action on them, and how to quickly set up my template, which I again link below. Let's go. Hi everyone, if you're new to this channel, I'm Mika Reyes. I'm Filipino, born and raised, now living in Silicon Valley. I was previously a product manager at LinkedIn, now a founder of a stealth startup. And in this channel, we talk about minimalist personal finances, careers in tech and product management, and other self-development topics. Consider subscribing to learn more and hit that like button because it helps this channel a lot. Again, a really quick plug, if you want to follow along this video with a template of the spreadsheet, you can check it out in the description below. It's free $99, so go ahead and download it without a cost to you. All right, first thing, let's talk about the benefits of tracking your expenses manually and why I personally hate all of the apps that automatically do it for me. Number one benefit is the awareness and guilt. It's so much better for you to keep looking at your expenses and spending so you're aware of how much you're actually spending every week instead of making a guess. Number two is really good for data for future things. For example, salary negotiations or big life changes. If you go into a new job, one way you can negotiate your salary and actually show data for it is saying, hey, this is how much it takes for me to live a comfortable life. I need to meet this bar and I need my salary to meet this bar as well. And if you're undergoing a really big life change, such as losing your job, knock on wood, you might have reduced or lessened anxiety knowing how much you spend in a month or in 3 months and how much you have saved in your bank, to know and to calm yourself into thinking, hey, I have enough to find a job, I'm okay. Or if you want to take a break from life, you know that you're spending this much and can project any future plans around your financial history. And number three, keeping yourself aware and guilty regularly helps you keep accountable to your budget, which, by the way, if you don't yet have a budget, check out this video over here where I talk about a crazy simple way to start creating your budget today. All right, this is how I track my expenses. So let me show you how my spreadsheet works. So there are 3 basic tabs as part of this spreadsheet. Number one is the raw expense log. So there's going to be a timestamp, the expense, category of that expense, the price, and then a breakdown of the week or the month of that expense based on the timestamp. So how do I input this when I'm spending? So consider a scenario where I'm eating food out with friends and I pay for my bill. I will open this Google Form app, which I turned into a shortcut on my iPhone, and log the expense accordingly. So for example, I ate at ABCD restaurant today, and this is under the food category, and it was $10. I submit, and then it will then go straight into my expenses log. Sometimes I'll also manually log this expense myself if I'm getting receipts via email or otherwise. The second tab is my budget. I won't talk about this too much because I talk about my budget and expense projections in another video linked here. But basically what this tab is showing is what my week, month, and yearly budget is. For this particular spreadsheet, we're mostly looking at the monthly budget because it relates back to our third tab, which I call the expenses pivot. And if you're familiar with Excel and spreadsheets, you guessed it, it's a pivot table. This pivot table basically shows breakdown of category spending on a monthly basis. You'll also see the grand total per month or per category. As you can see, there are already some red spots here, which unfortunately means I went over my budget for that month for that category. I show that through conditional formatting based on the budget that I showed you on that second tab. Over here, I talk roughly about my percentage of income. I want to make sure that the amount that I'm spending per month is roughly 50% or lower than my total income, so that the rest of my income goes into savings or investments. On this tab, you'll also see some visualizations and breakdowns of my spending. Here we see a pie chart, which breaks down how much I'm spending on a percentage basis, which arguably housing is always the largest percentage. And this chart here shows my spending per month per category in a more visually beautiful way to see if there are any spikes or dips that I should take note of and take action on. And that's it, folks. That's the breakdown of how I manually track my spending on a week-per-week basis and how I make sure I am aware and accountable to my budget. If you're using my template, one thing I want to make sure you note is that the week and month view on the raw log needs to be performed on each row so that the pivot table picks that up. Again, I hate all the budgeting and saving apps out there. Not necessarily because they're bad apps, but because the automation just doesn't work for me. It doesn't help me stay accountable to my personal finance goals. It doesn't help me stay aware because the automation kind of abstracts that away. I also have many personal configurations that I want to tweak over time, and I want to have control over my expenses. If you're just like me, you can get started with your manual tracking of expenses with my template linked below. And you can also get started with your budget if you haven't set it up yet. Here's a quick link to it with another video for more. I hope that was helpful. Like and subscribe for more videos like this. And I'll see you next time. For now, enjoy some bloopers. Bye! You're spending. Should I do the... Bless you. Okay, I'm done.